What was the
after that.
inspiration for the songwriting? Like, because again, I mean, you're. I feel like the music career is kind of like you can kind of get stuck in a rut where you're playing cover shows because maybe they're more lucrative. Maybe that's what venues want to hear. Maybe that's what people want to hear. But really, if you want to become a national artist or regional, even regional, or even further globally, you have to be original. You have to write your own stuff. So, how'd you get over that hump? Like going from just playing other people's music and then writing your own?
Yeah, so one of my favorites growing up was James Taylor. And whenever I found out that James Taylor wrote his own songs, I was like, man, like, I think that's really awesome. And I was always like interested in writing poetry. I don't think I was ever very good, but I loved reading when I was younger. My dad would read me poems when I was a kid, but I was always trying to write something melodically. But yeah, it wasn't until I was being mentored by a really good guy at a San Saba at the time, and he really pushed me. He was like, "You need to write your own stuff, like these cover songs are great, but they're not gonna get you out of this county." So
That's exactly
that's
what
when
I
I
mean.
started
Yeah,
writing.
exactly what I meant.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's exactly right, like anybody can sing well to a Carrie Underwood song. So it's like, what do you have to say? And I felt like I had to do it, like I was being pushed to do it, but it was like it's the push that I needed because I don't think I would have done it without people telling me that I should do it, you
Yeah, and there's
know?
a lot more struggle in it too, right? Because like getting people to like something that you created is really difficult rather than just, getting somebody to enjoy your version of a song they already know, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, of course, those first few songs were rough to sit through, for
Sure.
anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna write bad songs for the rest of my life, but at least, now I know what I like. And, people that like my music kind of know what to expect from me nowadays, I think. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you're still trying to find your sound and
Hmm.
the words, like you're learning with every single thing you put on the paper. But yeah, like it was hard to sit through, like, oh, I get it, but it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, you have to live through the bad, right?
Yeah.
You got to live through the bad to get to the good. I love hearing that you tried to write poetry because one of the things that I absolutely love about your songs is kind of the art of descriptive language and the imagery of your music and your songs, just making people see as well as making people feel right within your music. So, how did you get from that bad poetry to being able to do that within your songs now?
Oh man, I like you saying that is so sweet. I really appreciate that. Well, one of my favorite authors I have, like, he's really the only author that I ever consistently read, but it's Stephen King. And I think Stephen King is so brilliant at
Yeah.
like helping you see the scenes that he's talking about and stuff. And I've always been really, really, really inspired by his writing. Like his writing gives me chills. I love it so much. But I got into Towns Van Zandt after meeting Nick, and Towns is really good at painting pictures and
Yes.
like putting you in the mountain scene and like by the stream and stuff. So I don't know, like it's definitely my environment. I was an outdoorsy nature kid anyways, so that's always what made me happiest. But being able to, that's what I want to write about
Is that
is the
hard for you to
grass and
do?
trees.
Because you're talking about Stephen King. Stephen King has thousands of words to make this point and paint his picture. You've got 3 minutes, right? So,
Yeah.
so I mean, how hard is that for you?
I don't know. I haven't really started thinking about like songwriting in a formula way until recently, but now I'm able to look at things like, oh, like in this first three stanza, I want them to like see what I'm seeing, and then maybe we'll get into like how I'm feeling and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like it's definitely there are days where it's easier and days where it's harder. You can only say the pine trees are green a million times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I've just now gotten into like looking up funny, words for colors like chartreuse or whatever. But I don't know. That's the fun part to me. It feels like I'm picking out the paintbrush that I want to use,
Yeah, are
you
you
know,
jumping into like the thesaurus.com a lot, like just trying to find words for different words?
all the time. And I feel so silly when I'm doing it.
You
But like
shouldn't.
James McMurtry, He's one of my favorites, and James uses some gnarly words
Yeah.
sometimes,
What
and
a
I
great,
love it.
great point. Yeah, James is amazing with his songwriting. Same thing. Very descriptive. Very bringing you on a trip inside your head. Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad you dropped that name. I'm a huge James McMurtry fan, so I'm right there with you on that. One another thing I've noticed that you're very good at is being able to write from a personal experience and also being able to write from another perspective as well. How are you able to do that? Because I feel like if you're writing from a personal experience like Less Lonesome, you're probably going to connect to the song more than you would if you're writing from somebody else's perspective. But when I see you perform live, I don't notice a difference. I feel like you're connecting to the song either way. So how do you connect to a song that you've written from somebody else's perspective?
I don't know. So the songs that I have like written from somebody else's perspective, I still have a very emotional tie to that person that I'm talking about and all this different stuff. Like, I don't know. So Nick, he really shaped my songwriting. Whenever I met him, I had been writing, but like he really changed the direction of where I wanted to go. He introduced me to like folk music and Americana and stuff like that. So it just turned me on to this completely different scene. But Nick always said he was the first one that told me, write what you know. And of course, everybody says that, but he's the first person that I heard it from. So then I started like trying to tell these stories in different ways after that because I only had so much to talk about at the time. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely have to stay grounded to my songs because I have gotten disconnected from them before and I just don't like that feeling. I don't feel like anybody believes me when I sing it and I'm not connecting to it. But I have to live the song every time I sing it.
Yeah, and that believability is really important to connect to a live audience, isn't it?
I think so, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so just I got a lot to unpack here, Presley. So I want to talk about your vocals as well. We mentioned earlier that all of this was grounded in your vocals. It all started because, I mean, let's be real. You have a fantastic voice, right?
Oh,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. What I want to talk about though is from a songwriting standpoint. Obviously, you're the artist that's performing these songs too. You're the voice for these songs and delivering that message. How much is that vocal ability such a valuable tool for you as a songwriter?
I don't know. I mean, whenever I was just doing cover songs, like I would always try to find my own ways to put spins on it, like kind of challenge myself vocally. And sometimes I get in writing modes where I do challenge myself vocally, like Mountain Daughter was the first one that was really melody driven. And at
Mm-hmm.
the time I wasn't doing a whole lot of that. So that was a breakthrough for me being like, oh, like, because I was writing really monotone kind of boring stuff before that one. That one was like a breakthrough for me. But I don't know. Like I think I rely on my voice a lot more than I realize when it comes to building emotion in songs, like Second Time. And like I do think it's very important for the songwriting that I'm doing, at least right now. And I do worry sometimes about the condition of my voice in my older years.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, can I still sing these songs one day? But that's a bridge to cross. Hopefully not for a long time.
Well, I'm glad that you're thinking in those terms though, because a lot of people don't, right? A lot of people live in the moment and they're performing the songs as they have that ability at the time, right? We had Mike Tramp from White Line on the show way a couple years ago, and like he wrote that song "When the Children Cry," if you remember that one from the '80s, and
Hmm.
that song is so difficult vocally that he's not able to do it anymore in that key. So he redid the song at 70 years old so he could have a different version of it. So, like,
Nice.
he wasn't thinking about that, right, back in the day. Um, yeah, that's good stuff. Let me ask you this one. When you're in the studio, how does your role in the studio? Because, like I said with Nick earlier, I feel like there's two sides of creative to a song, right? There's writing the song, coming up with it, putting it on a page, and then it's bringing it into the studio and fleshing it out and making it a song. So how hands on are you in the studio on that side of the creative process?
Man, I've gotten a lot more hands-on. The studio is something that has began to really excite me. And Mountain Daughter was the first studio experience that I ever had. So I was super green, like going in with this song, not knowing like really how to talk to, the producer and the engineer. And I'm so lucky that we've stuck with Pat Mansky, the guy that's been with us since that song, because it's given me the chance to get a relationship with him and like know how to talk to him. And every single time I go in, I'm learning more lingo about like what I'm trying to say so you don't sound ridiculous trying to communicate to these studio musicians. But no, I love it so much. Like I'm like a kid in a candy store every time, just hearing everybody's idea and perking up whenever I have an idea. But the studio's super fun. I'm kind of just happy to be there. That's my role. Like,
So I kind of missed on it a little while ago. You mentioned that before Mountain Daughter, and that's when I met you, right when that song came out. Just so you
mhm.
know. So that was kind of my first Presley Haile experience was Mountain Daughter. You said prior to that your songs were self-described boring, quote unquote. So what changed between before Mountain Daughter and after? Was it like bringing it into the studio for the first time, or was it something else?
I don't know. So whenever I got with Nick, I had like 2 years where I didn't really write anything. And just everything, because after Nick, like he took me to Shreveport and I met all these other songwriters in East Texas, like Meredith Crawford and Heather Little and all these other incredible songwriters. I had never been exposed to people like that before. So I spent all that time really, really, really focusing on like, how can I make this better? Like, how can I hold a candle to these guys, that I'm now involved with? So, but yeah, I mean, we went to Colorado, Nick and I did with a buddy of ours, and obviously being that was my first time there as an adult, and it was in the summertime, and I was just mesmerized the whole time. Like you could not have killed my mood at all when I was up there. It was so much fun, but I knew I had to write about it. So that's the first time I put so much thought into a song, was coming up with that first acapella bit. And then I keep referencing the songs. It was a turning point because of this reason. Like, I feel like melodically, my writing changed and lyrical content, my writing was beginning to change and stuff like that. So I think that was really it. I think something just clicked finally.
Well, you mentioned also that Nick kind of turned you on to some different influences as well, right? Like kind of that singer songwriter vibe, the folky Americana. Do you think melodically that helped change your style as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like listening to Blaze and Towns and Guy and John Prine more, which I already knew about John, but I never really dove into him. And then, really at the time I was so heavily influenced just by the people that I was around all the time, our friends.
Yeah,
So super
and
grateful for
let
that.
let's be real. Nick Brumley is the songwriter's songwriter, in my opinion. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
No, I would have to agree.
yeah, my wife and I would, if anybody asked us who is the most underrated songwriter, it's definitely Nick Brumley, no question in my mind.
Oh.
He's incredible. He knows how I feel.
No, I
Uh,
love that.
yeah,
No, I agree with you.
yeah, he's just an amazing songwriter. I'm so glad you're here, and